Good community. This is your host, Manisha Pradhan. I'm the editor for BabyChakra. And today we welcome you to our live session where we will be talking about unhealthy food habits in kids and foods that we should avoid for a healthier child. Today we have with us our experts, Dr. Pooja Marathi and Dr. Dhruvi Rathod. But before we begin, I would like to say a little about Baby Chakra. So Baby Chakra is a platform for parents to connect with other parents and experts to make better parenting decisions. We are also India's most loved online shop for baby products, and we have such sessions every day to so that parents can know about how to bring up the children and the different issues related to children. And today we have a very special session and we have our experts. Let me begin by introducing them. Dr. Pooja Marathi, would you like to just introduce yourself and tell the viewers a little about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Manisha. Hi, everyone. I am Pooja. I am the community expert at BabyChakra, and I basically deal with kids' nutrition since they are infancy, toddlers, and age kids, school-going kids. So here I am to answer your queries. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Dhruvi, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Dhruvi here, and I'm a founder of Step to Health. So basically, it's a brand that works for the wellness of women and children. And I'm a clinical nutritionist by profession and a happiness and a mindfulness coach. So there's a blend of everything that I do together. So I'm very happy to be on the stage where I'm able to talk to so many lovely moms over here and just address the queries. Let's see how the progress happens. Thank you for
Thank you,
having me.
Dhruvi. Thank you. So, just before we begin, I would like to say Dr. Hariom Singh could not join us today because he had an emergency. So, Dr. Pooja Marathi is taking over and giving us some useful, helpful tips. Um, so, we start with you, Dr. Pooja. When we say unhealthy food habits in kids, what are the foods that are categorized as unhealthy? And what do you think leads to children eating unhealthy food?
Okay, so the very basic question which comes in is like, what is unhealthy food? Unhealthy food comes basically which is packaged, which is made up, which is deep fried, which is made up of maida, which has preservatives. So these are all categorized as unhealthy foods. And when we start by seeing it at what time it is introduced, generally when the child starts, weaning. And after the age of 6 months, when we start introducing food, mothers are very, very conscious in giving them a healthy food eating habit. But kids are kids, we cannot refrain them. They would be asking about what the things they see around, how what kind of exposure they have at home environment. So they do ask for other packet foods, and that's where the habits start building in. And secondly, I would like to say that uh, while traveling, we lack many options. Everywhere we cannot carry a home food, so that is where unhealthy food kind of steps in. But parents are making a conscious effort on changing the habits of the children. So definitely these things are very, very essential, and we need to understand that the kids can be kept away from these kind of habits. I hope that answers this.
Yes, thank you so much. So, Dhruvi, since you're a nutritionist, how do you think we can encourage kids to eat healthy foods like fruits and vegetables? Because we know that children are not very fond of greens and vegetables that much. How do we encourage them?
Yes. So, frankly telling you, it comes from the way we bring up children. Okay. So, it is there in the roots. So, as parents, if we make a conscious effort of introducing these foods at the very beginning of life, in the very early stages of life, there are very less chances that we see that children refrain from having these healthy foods. And over age, I do know we have a lot of peer pressure coming in, and children are kind of glued to the TV and the marketing and all of that happens around, and they get carried away with things. But it is always good when we treat them as adults, because many times we as parents tend to enforce a lot of things on children. asking them or being an authority, so when you have a healthy conversation with the child, explain them that this is what it is, and it is always there in a way that you are just guiding them, not forcing things on them, so the acceptability is more. And if you see in terms of their mind, how the child's mind works is more when they see it visually, they have more of audio video uh, acceptance, so when they see it visually, if it is visually appealing to them, it is something which is attractive, they tend to opt for it more. And knowledge, yes, second is the vision, the appearance, the way it is displayed to the child, and third comes the palatability. So based on the child's taste, flavors, what they like, if you customize the food accordingly and offer it to them, the chances of the child having the food is more. So if we keep these three things in mind, it is surely going to increase the chances in which the child is going to accept the fruits and vegetables. If you want me to give you a couple of examples, so this I tried with my son. So initially he was never a picky eater, and I know I'm doing the wrong thing. I am labeling him. So as parents, we generally do that, we label our children, so saying that okay, this child likes sweet, so he has a sweet tooth, or maybe like something which is salty, spicy, okay, so he has that kind of flavor. So we tend to label them based on the choices that they make, right? So I initially I never had issues as such, but as being in the same field, I always wanted my son to have a blend of things, right? So I started, and as every mother faces this issue, breakfast is a challenge. So morning hours are a rush. They have to finish the morning chores, everything, and then rush to the school, and that's the time they are not having what is required, So I started off with certain fruit and vegetable based smoothies, adding veggies in the food that we make. Now it would be like the paratha or the chapati that we make, just puree the vegetable, add it into it. And if it is fruits, maybe make some small popsicles out of it, right? So you just make a puree or juice of the fruit and don't strain it, add it just in the ice cube tray, and you freeze it and you can give it. Or maybe it can be added in some sort of curd. So generally you chop the vegetables into fine pieces, the fruits into fine pieces, mix it into curd, make a fruit yogurt at home itself, and that can be offered to the child. So in this way, they tend to have these foods. And the cravings, many times children do crave a lot for sweet and salt and sour flavors, so that can be added in this way, in a healthy way, and that can help them in incorporating the fruits and vegetables into their daily diet.
Thank you. That's really interesting, the recipes that you shared. So, talking about cravings, Dr. Pooja, children like to snack in between, toddlers. So, should they snack at all in between meals? And if at all, yes, then how often should they snack?
See, to answer this question, we look at it at two aspects. Okay. Basically, when we are introducing food, we are slowly giving them small meals and in small quantities for them to make it a habit. But when we are talking about the toddlers of the age group of category 2 to 5, who are also tend to go to play school, have a kind of a routine being set, it is generally said that three basic meals along with one snack meal will be helping them for their meal satisfaction. But in between, suppose my child has not had a proper breakfast. Okay, I wanted him to have one and a half idli with a one katori of sambar and little bit of chutney. This is an example I'm giving, but he only ate half. So a general practice, what a mother does is a half cup of milk or a fruit is what she does it while topping it up. But if the child is not in any mode of eating, or if the child is being breastfed, at that point of time the child would be carrying a little small snack, okay, wherever, if they are going out to play, if they are in the home. But if this habit is followed on a regular basis where intermittent snacking is there, then that is something which is wrong and which we need to change. That is what we have to understand. And secondly, as we are trying to build habits for children, it is always necessary that to make it apply that what we preach and what we follow. So we are in a process of setting their whole eating habits, their dining etiquettes, the way the food is presented to them in a very mindful way. If we do all these things, these all things had can be avoided. Manisha.
Okay. Thank you. Dhruvi, so since we're talking about snacks,
Yeah.
can you just shared some very interesting recipes with us for how to make food interesting for children. Can you also
Yeah.
share some healthy snack tips for children?
Yeah. So, see, many a times here the mother's creativity comes to test, So, how creative you are in putting things into the plate. So, it is very easy for you to make roti, sabzi, dal, chawal and give it, right? But
Yeah.
not every time your child is going to accept it,
Yeah.
right? And coming down to snacks, so snacks is something which is kind of a treat meal for the child.
Yeah.
So it is a reward. It's a reward that the child generally gets after having a proper meal. So mommy says, okay, you had your food today, so this is what I'm going to give you in the evening, right? So
Yeah.
when it is a treat meal, it has to be treated like that, right? When you make it as a treat meal, it can be anything which the child likes. So many times we see children like crunchy foods. They like
Correct.
something that's crispy, right? That's where they run around for the chips and all of that. And but if we can make something of that sort at home, right? So I generally prefer the chapati, the roti that we make at home, right? Just add a little bit of ghee to it and roast it on the tawa. It becomes nice, crispy,
Crispy.
and you crunch it off. You add little fruits, or you add little vegetables. You can make a chaat kind of thing. We make papdi chaat at home, right? So boiled potatoes, tomatoes, onions, little lemon juice to it, little chaat masala to it, mix it, and that becomes a very healthy meal. And when that child is having even a small cup of that particular chaat, he is going to be full enough. And plus the veggies go in, you don't have to do anything else to add the veggies to it. In that way, same, you can go for different types of uh, rolls. Okay, so the same chapati which is there in the afternoon, you can add the sabji which is left over. You mix that with a little bit of hung curd, which is thick. Instead of the mayonnaise, you add little hung curd to it. And some uh, chutneys, whatever chutneys you have at home. So Indians as such, we are so blessed to have different variety of chutneys.
Chutney with true.
So we have seeds chutneys, we have nuts chutneys. Sometimes we have the vegetable chutney that we make at home out of greens, or maybe the certain vegetable that we had in the afternoon. So mostly over here in South India, we see there are a lot of peel, the vegetable peel that we have, right? We make chutneys out of it. So that can also be mixed into it, or maybe you add a layer of it, make a tomato chutney and keep in. Instead of the sauce, you can have that. Rolls, frankies can be made out of it. And potatoes, I know some children do love so much, so they want the french fries all the time. So you can make homemade french fries. Rather than frying it, you can go for a shallow fry kind of thing. And you can have vegetable sticks. Okay, so vegetable sticks can go along with hummus, or maybe any other dip that you can make at home, right? So in this way, certain things go along with it. Makhanas are a very good option, so caramelized makhana you can make out of the sugar. So here, instead of the normal sugar, you can use the jaggery, or you use the coconut sugar. Just top the makhanas into it, and it becomes very nice. So we generally see children craving for the popcorns, right? So
Popcorn.
they want to have different flavors of popcorn. The same thing you can replicate it with the makhanas over here. You can make bhel out of makhanas. You can make the churmuri bhel that we have out of the puffed rice. So a lot of things, traditionally our parents, if you see in our childhood, we used to have snacks. It wasn't that we
Correct.
never had snacks, right? We had chivra, we had save, we had chakli and all of that. And that's perfectly fine. And at
Correct.
this age, they do need all of this. It is not you can refrain them from the fat and oil and all of it. It is an essential part of the diet. So even if certain amount of shankar para that we make, we get a salted and a sweet one,
Sweet.
right? So you can fry it in ghee instead of oil. Let that amount of ghee get into the body. That's perfectly fine. chutneys can be made with different flours. So we have seasonal grains that come, right? So whatever is there in the season, pick it up. You can make something out of it at home. And khakra is a very good option. Children do love khakras. Many times we do carry that as a traveling snack. It's always there. So homemade khakras are good enough. So there are many things that can be added up, but I would just focus on one thing is variety. Okay, because it is very very possible that a child gets bored of a certain food in some period of time. So not overdoing what they like and not completely stopping them what they do not like. So having a balance in between is very important. So sometimes if they don't like, it's okay, perfectly fine. It is not their day. It's not the day of the food, I would say. Okay. So that's perfectly fine. But
Thank you for
have a variety. Yeah.
thank you. Those are like really mouth-watering recipes that you shared. We're definitely going to try that. um, uh, Dr. Pooja, when it comes to vitamins and minerals that are essential for a child's healthy growth, what are these exactly? What are the vitamins and minerals that are necessary for their growth?
I would say that we follow the color diet. We try and ensure that, as a mother, we are trying to give different color groups to the child. So it's yellow, orange, greens, okay, violets, and whites, all kind of diets. Colors are incorporated, and most of our fruits and vegetables have the natural vitamin and minerals incorporated. So it is A, D, E, K, and the vitamin B1 to B6, then vitamin B12. These are the basic vitamins and minerals that we have to
Yes.
ensure. In terms of minerals, which are available in nuts, which could be manganese, selenium, calcium is what we are looking forward for. Then we are looking also for copper. So micro and macro elements of minerals are part of the diet. Now, making it available for the child is like, as Dhruvi suggested, such a big variety of food items. So it could be shakarpari, it could be fruits, it could be vegetable sticks. In these ways, if we incorporate them in our daily child's routine, then definitely they will be taken in. Secondly, our laddus, our grandmother's traditional laddus, may they we now we say it's loaded with ghee, but at that point of time, they are a full source of micronutrient elements, and these are energy boosting, number one. Number two, they are also brain boosting. These micronutrients are helpful for the brain development, and that is why it is said that we introduce them in the age of 2 to 5 or 2 to 7, and the child incorporates these nutrient elements for the development. So in a way, we are covering it up on a regular basis, but the importance is still yet to be known to the moms. And I hope this in this manner, these moms community will be understanding that it's okay to introduce traditional foods. Don't go for
Correct.
fancy variety packet foods available
Package.
outside,
Yes.
because yeah, because what we have been brought up, the same thing needs to be going on for generations. This is what I feel.
Correct. Correct. And I think we can even make some of these snacks and keep it in dabbas for
Yes.
times when we are very busy, I think. Yeah. Dhruvi, I heard a lot of moms talking about, that I feed my child a rainbow, like eating a rainbow when it comes to food for kids.
Hmm.
Can you explain what exactly is the rainbow in the when it comes to talking about food?
Yes. So now, as Pooja very rightly mentioned, so a certain food group, right? There are certain common colors that you see in a food group. And the easiest way for a mother to judge whether the child is having a right combination of food is to see a colorful plate. So colorful plate will include your whites. So that can be your cereals, right? Whatever different kind of cereals. So it can be a roti, it can be your rice, right?
Yeah.
And the different forms of roti that we have. Then you have your proteins. So all of these. So if it is egg, milk, and all of that will go into the whites. Then you have your fruits and vegetables that adds to a lot of colors. So it includes your this thing. You have lots of reds, you have greens, you have yellow, you have orange. So all the different colors that you see comes from your fruits and vegetables. And then you have your dals and pulses. So those give you those earthy colors of the yellows and orange and all of that. So this is just a simple way to see whether all the nutrients or the all the food groups as such are there on your plate or not, right? And the best way, but I would really emphasize on one thing: it is not very important that you have all the colors at one go.
Okay.
Okay, because many times mothers are so pressurized with the fact that they want to see the rainbow in every plate that they serve to the child, and the child gets frustrated seeing so much food on the plate and
Food
they
on
don't want to eat it, right? So it is okay, you use the color throughout the day, that's perfectly fine, but see that all the different colors are going in turn, it is all the different food groups that are going into your plate and the child's plate for that matter. And one important thing over here is you are the best role model for your child. So if
Correct.
you want your child to follow a rainbow plate, first it should be on your plate. Until unless we do not have it, our children are not going to have it. So it is, they
Very
ape the parents, so the parents are the first role model for the children. So let's follow and they will automatically follow us along.
true. So we have two quick questions from our viewers. So one of the viewers wants to know that the rainbow food that we're talking about, does it have to be included all in one meal, or can we break it into like the full week? Like supposing we give them one color today and another color tomorrow, or does it have to be daily giving them a rainbow meal?
Yeah.
Dhruvi, would you
Yeah.
like to answer that?
Yes, yes. So, see, as such, spreading it over the week, it is obviously going to happen when you spread it over the week. But on an average, so we won't say that you add up all the colors in one day, but maybe at least in terms of fruits and vegetables, So when it comes in terms of fruits and vegetables, try and add different variety. Either maybe for the lunch and dinner, you have a different variety of fruit, sorry, for the vegetable, and in the snack you have one fruit going in, or maybe in the breakfast one other fruit is going in. So in that way, when you have variety in the type that you're sharing, so it is obviously serving the rainbow colors. And see, your
Correct.
cereals and proteins are something which is fixed, but in
Yes.
that also you have variety. Okay, so it could be maybe one day the child would want to have rice instead of roti, and that's perfectly fine. And someday you give them dal, someday you give them paneer, someday you give them some kind of non-veg if you're having, or it could be some sprouts. So all of these are different sources of protein, but need not be everything goes at one shot. So you can spread it along and have a different variety on daily basis, that's perfectly fine. But see that all these food groups are there in the child's whole day's menu. Okay, so the cereals, pulses, and your fruits and vegetables, if these three things are taken care of, it is sorted.
Thank you. So, Dr. Pooja, one last question from our viewers. When we are shopping for food, what are the things we need to check in the label? Like, we're running this campaign called Label Pado Moms, right? And Baby Chakra. So, what do you
Yes.
suggest the mothers check on the label, or mothers or fathers,
See,
whoever's listening?
whoever, take your child along for shopping. I would say that, when you're going to a kirana store, a hypermarket, a supermarket, wherever you are, let the child be with you near the shelf. Don't let them put away. Number one. Number two is that the child gets attracted by the advertisements. So
Correct.
the child may not read but remembers the pictures. He may point out onto the picture. So you can over there emphasize on what's good and what's not. That is one. Okay. Label reading comes over there. Secondly, we are all into a mantra of following organic food. What is natural, what is good, what is easily available, but at the same time, not be heavy on my pockets. So, when you're talking about reading labels, ensure that you have no trans fats, you have no trans sugars. And this is the way that you also help the child to understand. You can read it out to them. Probably they might understand. You can go out, they understand by choosing through colors. So that will help the child to, pick up the correct kind of food. And lastly, when you are telling them that this is not good for you, this is good for
Dr. Pooja, we
you
can't hear
need to,
you.
am I audible now?
Yes.
You need to set an example for your child. So whenever you are choosing any, definitely the child is going to follow your footsteps. I believe that these all parameters will be definitely helping in understanding that, eating the right kind of food at the right age will help them to build a healthy habit.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we have to end our session now. And I'd like to thank our experts, Dr. Pooja, Dr. Dhruvi, for being here and giving us time today. And for all our viewers, download the BabyChakra app for more such interesting updates for you and your baby. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thanks a
for
lot.
having us.